Well, hello there, everybody, and happy Sunday morning to you. Thank you for coming to Guitar Safari and our edition on guitar and music tourism, and how is and the idea of where has your safari taken you. Good morning, Seth.
Where has your money gone in gas money and in plane tickets and in other things to fulfill the gear need that we have? So that's why we had to bring on a professional, someone who's done even more safariing than Charles and I. So we brought on a master, Randy, to tell us all about some of his journeys.
Hello, everyone. The biggest one that everybody knows about that's going to be watching this is taking a trip down to pick up that guitar that Charles dropped for me. That was my second trip down to Austin. First time, my wife was sick, so I didn't get to go out and see all the music I wanted. But when you go visit Charles, schedule it way ahead of time and make sure he takes time off, because he did not go out to any music with us.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was rather slammed at work when you came down, and so and sacrifices had been made in order to get your guitar done on time and had to be paid back when you were here. All right, so let's see who is in our chat. Let's see who's in Herb with Fireside. Yeah. So Herb with Fireside Studios, he was the first in the chat, followed quickly by Ryan of OU812. Welcome, gent. And of course, Quentin James with the newly refurbished back. So seem to be feeling a little bit better with that. Awesome. And my fellow Texan, Ferd Burfel, my music brother-in-law, Ryan Hall.
My brother.
And our buddy Lucas of L&M Guitar Corner, staying up late there in Austria in order to go ahead
and my friend Lucas.
Yeah, getting the beating time there for him.
I love Lucas.
Let's see.
The man. Come on.
Well, hello there. Hadn't seen you in a while.
Oh, fuck. I'm just hanging out here on this goddamn bench waiting for this asshole to get out of here so I can have some fun. Woohoo!
Know that feeling. All right, let's see. Who else do we have? We have, like I said, we had Ryan Hall. We have William De Silva. Our buddy Ben Combs is in the chat already. Good morning, Ben. And let's see. And we have McCollum Music. Good morning to you and welcome in. And we have Martian Murray, Wayne McConnell. And I think that catches up for the chat.
What is up, dude? We got such handsome people in our chat. It's crazy. I think we have the handsomest chat.
They are lookers, without a doubt.
Anyway, I think we have like a 35% mustache ratio, which is freaking phenomenal, dude. We are killing it.
Mustache ratio.
We're catching up on the beard department too. But let's go on back to our topic. This idea of build your vacations around guitars and music, right? And taking that time to go see the places that are they're famous for music, like say Nashville and Austin, and those places out there in California that are famous that some people go to every once in a while.
Ashbury.
Places like Graceland, the Music Hall of Fame, all the Sun Records, all these places. And our buddy Randy Crooks is an experienced explorer and a guide to all these kind of things. And this is what he does with his off time. Hello there, Blackjack Guitar, and welcome in, buddy. And he this is how he does his vacations. And he's got guitars from all over the country. Rumor has it that there's even been a trip to the mother country, across the pond, so to speak. And so we might even get that story out of Randy before too long. So along the way on our journey today, we also want to find out, okay, where are the places that you've guitar safaried as a travel opportunity, and those places where you've gone for music tourism And Lucas has just dropped in the chat perfectly on time. His music tourism took him to insane stores in Tokyo. See, this I was not aware of, and now I need the story.
I bought a guitar in Tokyo. It was a trip.
All right, so Randy,
Tokyo is a terrible place. It's an awful place. It's all of these. It's so many people, and they're all short. And then when you stand on the end of the corner, you look around, and it's just a bunch of heads. And then you see the one other tall American person that's like over there, like, "Hey, what's up, person?" And no one really wants to talk to you. It's terrible, dude. I don't recommend Japan. I say
might have been your attitude.
Nope, it wasn't. I got a good attitude in general. Japan.
Well, when I went to
Japan, not all of it. The city.
Okay, I got you.
When I went to Tokyo, when I was in the Marine Corps, this is like 80, I think, 1980. And I could not go into any clubs because I was not Japanese. I ended up drinking beer in a Pizza Hut.
Wow.
Yep. It's tough because, like,
they were so mad about something.
Yeah. It's like you were a gaijin, so you can't go have no beer. Did you buy any guitars in Japan?
No, I didn't get into guitars until I was like 53 or 54 years old.
Wow. What the hell? Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, Randy and I are kind of late to guitar. This is one of those things we have in common. We're both kind of a little bit late to guitar, coming to guitar.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mean to hate on Japan. Sorry if there's anybody that I offended with I was married to a Japanese woman. I've been there a whole bunch of times. There's parts of Japan that I love, but the city was just it was too much. They needed to like say, choose some people and tell them to go away.
Well, any place that's crowded, it's a little harder to get along there. Our buddy Ryan Hall in the chat says he reminds us his son's in Japan, and he says it really helps a whole lot if you speak Japanese.
Onochoto Nihongo Daijibu desu, skoshi desu. Yeah, man. I listened to so much of that Japanese when my ex-wife would watch TV, and it was just always on. So I learned Japanese. I didn't mean to learn it. Yeah.
Well, Michael Krause is adding in the chat, he's never bought a guitar on vacation or traveled to buy a guitar. Okay, so the question then becomes, Michael, is this now on your list, or is it just not on your list of things to do?
Here's something you do. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Randy.
Oh, I was just going to say, I got the guitar from Charles, and I bought a Hamer while I was down in Austin, and then I bought an acoustic, an Eastman, in Memphis.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So if I'm headed out of town, even 100 miles, if I'm going, because I don't travel that much, but if I'm going to Sacramento, or if I'm going down to Santa Cruz, or I'm going anywhere that's out of my general driving radius, I check Craigslist and see what's up there and see what's floating around. And if there's something worth it, I make it part of my journey and try to carve out some time, because usually like you'll find some good deals just outside of a super populated area.
I just love having my eye on the chat. And sorry, Seth, if my laughing annoyed you, but Michael got back to us on his answer, and he says, "Look, it's now on my list, but it's probably not on my wife's list," which all of us can relate to, I'm sure.
My wife's gone with me on safari.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, definitely. But it's I guess sometimes it's the idea you go on vacation, there's a limited budget, and if you buy something expensive, then you can take away. Ryan Hall says Alabama Muscle Shoals, Alabama is 45 minutes away. Nashville is 90 minutes away. So I'm thinking these are things he's either done or really have on his list.
Oh, Nashville's 90 minutes away. That's epic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been to Nashville since the 70s, and it's nothing like that now, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. And Lucas brings up the other idea. One of the things that I'd really like to do too is that he'd love to take factory tours one day, right? Love, because we've all seen the videos on YouTube about the factory tours that different people have taken, but it's nothing like going there and seeing it for yourself. And I'm all about seeing how that sausage is made, right?
Yeah, that's a California road trip. Actually, if you were going to plan yourself a California vacation, you could hit just down in Southern California. I personally would want to go to, on the way down, I would hit Ernie Ball in San Luis Obispo. Mm-hmm. And then there's Schechter is right in North LA. So just, as you're getting into LA. Also, it's a funny thing. You've heard of AIO guitars, all-in-one guitars?
Yes.
They're kind of a small import brand. I want to go meet those dudes. Okay, we were just talking about Japan. I was talking shit about Japan. These guys are super cool, and they're all from Japan. And they're luthiers that have decided to partner with a probably Chinese, maybe Indonesian factory, and they get in fully built guitars, and then they just, instead of sending out shitty guitars that just came from, they set them up, do the frets, do the fret ends, dial it all in, and send it out so it's not a hunk of junk. And I like that because it's kind of, I do the kind of same thing, but I do the assembly part too, and then I make them play really good, and so I dig it. And I saw them working, and I actually try to incorporate the Japanese working style into my working on guitars, because they've got a thing about, like, if you're not good at it if you can't do it well and pretty fast. If you do something really well but it takes you forever, you're not that good at it. You can do it, right? You need to get a flow of, like, doing it.
Well, there's people like me that don't know when to let go of things.
You have to make that, it's a whole nother week's topic, isn't it? Of, like, the failures in the process of building. Charles is talking about, he had an incident this week. Did he tell you about that, Randy? It was kind of tragic. It happens to all of us.
Let's just say I was fabric topping a guitar and put the fabric on upside down. It's a directional fabric, and I thought it was multi-directional, and it wasn't. And so,
you could call it right side wrong.
Yeah, right side wrong. Yeah. But going back to the chat, Ben has said he can't relate to that, and I don't know if that was about the traveling for guitars and music or what. So we'll have to get an update on that. Rico B says he's sorry he's late, but he brought a note from Professor Tony's class. Okay. We understand sometimes Tony holds you back a little bit. You got to get that last little bit of that last lesson in. So we're okay with that. Welcome in, Rico B.
Rico can almost see me if I'm waving. I'm waving to the east southeast, Rico. And he's just over a few hills.
And Ben is in the chat saying Nashville is fun. And so
Ben's done a lot of travel.
But Ben has done a lot of traveling, a lot of it for NASCAR type events, but I'm sure he's worked in those guitar and music things along the way as well. And Michael Krause says his sister moved to Maryland, so maybe a PRS tour. See,
another place that should be on the list here, I think, is Red Rocks in Colorado.
Oh yeah,
great place.
Yeah.
Great place to see a concert.
Yeah.
Have you been, Randy? I haven't been.
Yeah, I saw it's a Jason Bonham Led Zeppelin experience, Cheap Trick, and then Foreigner.
Yeah, that is definitely on my list. I would love to go to Red Rocks.
Have you ever seen the pictures that the musicians will take on stage at Red Rocks when they illuminate the audience, and then they're there with their gear and shit? My buddy Todd has a picture of him there, and I'm like, that's the freaking moment right there. That's just like the lightning bolt, right? So I was like, do you mind taking a Presley with you and snapping a picture the next time you're there for me? That would be kind of cool. But oh my God, what a great spot. I got to go there, and that's attainable for me. That's in between me and Rico B.
Uh-huh.
Well, I'll meet you there.
The nice thing is because it's up at around 7,000 feet, and I deer just walk around out there. So that's kind of cool. pulling up, getting out of the car, and seeing a bunch of deer.
It's all these experiences. They're things that you sit there, you'll always remember, right? In response to the AIO stuff, Fred Burful saying Guitar Max's channel has a bunch of videos on AIO guitars, and they're set up in California.
Yep. That is a good place to go to see the video that I saw that made me want to go visit them. Anyway, there's another reason. Has anybody ever watched this show the TV show called Disjointed? It's about a pot club.
With Kathy Bates.
I was a worker at like the original pot clubs. That show was basically designed around one of the places that I worked at. But it's they hold it in La Cañada, right down in LA, and it's in a little strip mall. Next to the strip mall, they had a Taekwondo place, right? And it's Taekwondo Doug is the owner. So AIO, guess where they're located?
Where?
La Cañada, in a little strip mall. Guess what is right next to frickin' AIO storefront? A Taekwondo storefront. So I was like, this is like a holy grail. I got to go there and like see if Taekwondo Doug actually works next door and go visit the AIO store. This is like, it's La Cañada. It's the Holy Land.
Well, I'd like to welcome in Janice Lala. She had to finish a video and she is now with us. Thank you very much. And Wayne McConnell says he loves his AIO Wolf Les Paul, but it's very poly heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got a deluxe telly body that is really, really heavy, and I'm wondering how much of that is just a poly. So I can't wait till I strip it off and find out.
Sometimes you wonder if they dip them.
Yeah.
Freaking shellac.
Or how many times they dip them.
Yeah, no kidding. This body itself.
Yeah.
This body itself is 8 pounds. Just the body.
Just the body's
like,
8 pounds?
Yeah, which is why I haven't moved very fast on working with it, because it's like it's going to be heavy no matter what.
Can you build a necklace guitar?
You're no kidding.
I've heard of the headless. Just build a like a hand harp. What are those little hand harp things? You have all the keys for your hand and the
auto harp.
Auto harp.
Do it on a strap body.
Here you go.
That'd be funny.
Well, that's a deluxe telly body, but yeah, it'd be an interesting idea. Let's see. So, all right. So I think William says he has a Wolf PRS copy from AIO, and and something about with his daughter. I have it to my daughter. He gave it to his daughter.
Gave it to his daughter.
That wasn't too bad. Yeah.
But it wasn't a 10, but it was a $400 guitar or a $350 guitar. Essentially what they're doing is they're buying the pre-assembled, and they're only really marking it up for what their actual time is in the guitar. From what I saw, they were like $450 to $600, and that's still below what I'm going to charge, because I spend way more time. I don't know exactly what time they allot to each one, but I'll spend some, between 5 and 10 hours on a guitar, depending.
And this is why I love people like Ryan Hall, because Ryan Hall has stood on the big circle on their center stage at the Grand Ole Opry.
Whoa. He was performing, or he just ran up on the stage like they do in soccer games? Like,
that would be me just running up on the stage.
I think that might have been both in the same thing. So he just ran up on stage and started performing.
Yeah, but hey, if you're good enough, that might be the one. It was my one shot, so I took it, and then they tackled me and chipped my tooth. Have you ever been put in a headlock by a bouncer before?
What's that?
Have you ever been put in a headlock by a bouncer before at a show?
I avoid that.
Yeah. It's only happened to me once that I really remember distinctly. It was at a Soundgarden concert, and it was like 2 times I went up on the crowd and got thrown over the front rail to where they have to catch you and they let you go. And like the second time, he was like, "Don't do it again." And I'm, what are you going to do? Of course I'm doing it again. I broke my thumb that night. So he threw me up again, and I can see as I'm coming in, I'm like, no. And I fell basically into his chokehold. He grabbed me in a chokehold. And then I kind of like, as the stars went away, they didn't kick me out still. They still let me go back into the club, into the crowd. It was great.
There you go. There you go.
I do love Hawaii.
See, and we have our buddies in the chat. They're always giving us advice. So Martian Murray hears about my problem with my heavy body, and he says, "Look, drill some holes." And once I strip the body of all that poly and see where it weighs, yeah, then I probably will. I'll drill some holes, and then I'll plug the holes at the end with some dowel, just at the very end, so we don't have the depressions in it. And we'll probably do that because it's a nice body. It's just heavy. And so if we can get some weight relief on it, we will. So we'll figure something out. But that is a good possibility there.
So how many projects you got in the works right now, Charles?
I have 2 on the bench active right now. A third that I have, but I want to go get some fabric for it to go ahead and start it. And then I've got 1 that's on its way in. So, but I've got so right on the bench right now. There's 1 customer guitar and 1 I need to do to sell. Right. So the Warlock is 1 that I'm doing to sell, and so that one I need for content for the channel, and also need to go ahead and get that out the door to bring in some money so we can bring in some other equipment. And
so are you full swing now with your?
No, I'm about 2 months out from being in like a full-on groove to where I'll be able to get back into ordering parts on a regular schedule and cranking them out. I've got an inventory if people want to hit me up. I think I only have 6 or 8 on Reverb, but I've got 10 or 12 guitars that could go out, but I just kind of have been hoarding them a little bit because also I like to make sure that they're really tip top. The ones that are on Reverb for sale have been played and used, and if there's anything that was going to go wrong with them, it was going to go wrong. So I'm confident when I send them.
Quality control is what you're saying.
Yeah, man. QC, brother, should charge extra. Just like people are going to pay extra for a guitar that a musician played on tour because they played it in and it's tip top and they know it's good. It's kind of like that's kind of what I do with my guitars. I don't send them out the door the minute they're done.
They have to kind of settle a little bit and make sure that that's what they want to be.
Yep. I mean, if I build it and I'm like at the end of the build and it's like, playing fantastic, then I might just go ahead and make the ad from there and put it out. And I've had a couple that sold faster than I wanted them to, just because I didn't even get to enjoy them enough. I had a green sparkle Telecaster that was killer, and it sold like the day I put it up, I think. I was like, oh, fuck, I should have held on to that one for a minute.
And so Michael Krause, just how he said he hadn't done this yet, but, I guess he had a cup of coffee because he's coming back with, I just realized I bought some pedals at Long and McQuaid in Quebec, Canada. Love the exchange rate, hate the taxes. So he has bought some gear on the music tourism bandwagon there. So, yeah. Hello, Bo. How are you? Okay, so Randy, you've built almost all your vacations around this idea of, music tourism and going to either look for a guitar or pick up a guitar or go experience the music of a city that's known for it. So what got you started in this whole idea, and how did you get your wife on board with that?
She buys her rocks and I buy my guitars. That's how I got my wife on board with that. But
Smart lady.
I was in the Marine Corps, and then I was a traveling salesman for like 2 years. I hate living out of suitcases. I don't like traveling. But in this case, the first time I went down to Austin because I wanted to see the music. Second time was to get that guitar. And if I say I want to go on a trip somewhere, she's all over it. Within a half an hour, everything's booked.
That's killer.
I love it. So where are some of the other places that you've been? Can you kind of give us like a list here? Where have you been to do this?
Well, I didn't buy any musical instruments, but I went to England because my wife was friends with an author and she wanted to go meet her. And I'm going like, England? I can go to Liverpool, you know?
Hell yeah.
So we stayed in Birmingham. Never made it to Liverpool, but did make it down to London. I went on a rock and roll tour down there. When we went by Abbey Road, we stopped at Bill Wyman's Sticky Fingers restaurant. Went by where Hendrix died. I mean, where they recorded a bunch of Pink Floyd albums that weren't done.
Wait, hold on. Is it where Hendrix died?
Yeah.
What is that? Is that like a house that he died in, or is it a street corner? I don't know how he died.
It's a flat. It's like a basement flat or bottom flat. But it took us by there, and
Crazy.
we went by Jimmy Page's Aleister Crowley house, by where Paul McCartney had a place right around the corner from Abbey Road. Just all over the place. I did not take pictures of me walking across Abbey Road, though.
Yeah. You got it. Well, still.
No, I took pictures of other people walking across. But,
right.
That's fine.
He didn't have 3 friends with him, so he didn't think it was going to work.
plus, I don't think the Volkswagen was still there.
Nice detail. Nice eye for detail. A couple things. We have Phil S. Norwich Guitars in the chat. He has joined us. Welcome. And let's see. There was another name. Billy Baloney is up, and he is in here with us too as well. Thank you both for being here. And you got to love it when you have friends in the chat, right? Because, Ben says, a belt sander works. A belt sander works for weight relief, and then Ferd Burfel comes back, works fast too.
Works fast.
Like, you can go ahead. All right, I see how it is, guys. All right.
Charles, you got that workbench that you can certain belt sanders. You can mount them upside down, and clamp them in between, and then you have that flat surface for sanding, which you could use to get to speed up the god off. I was actually going to say it would be nice if there was something that you could dip a guitar that was covered in poly, blip, and it just comes out and it's just wood. Let me dry this off, and you don't have to do anything other than that. Although that chemical bucket would probably, if it would be.
Yeah, well, it's some nasty stuff. I want to say hello to River Docs. Appreciate you coming on in.
What up, River Docs?
In my experience in stripping guitars, and I've done it a couple different ways. I've done it the chemical way, which is just nasty, and then the cleanup from that is miserable. And I've used the heat gun to do it, but you don't really want to go all the way down to the wood with the heat gun, because then you have a lot of extra sanding to do, and it's not really great for the wood, right? And so I really found, even though it's miserable and a lot longer to do, sanding it. The Gear Fairy showing up. But I find it just to be a lot better for the end product, really just to sand it. But
I find that stripping guitars is
the mess is horrible. I need but the mess is horrible, and I really need to get a dust collection, right? Because I'm doing it, and I'm wearing gloves, and I'm wearing a filtered mask and everything. But it's one of those things where no matter how you do it, it's not a pleasant experience. But I found that I get the best results with just sanding. And
I was thinking that Randy, you, and myself, we could start a club of people who strip guitars, and then we'd be able to tell our wives, like, once a month, hey, I'm going out to the strip club. And we wouldn't really be doing anything wrong. We'd just be hanging out with our buddies. Just a thought.
Oh, love that idea. But yeah, it is one of those things. So I'm a big fan of getting a body that is just got nothing on it. Getting the naked body and going from there. It's a great way to do it. Unfortunately, I'm such a bargain basement shopper that I'm frugal, And so if I can get all the parts and pieces together, I will, and then go from there.
Look for those $50
I,
deals.
Yeah, Microcrafts. I use one of the kind of mask that when you're actually in a paint booth, and it's got the big, huge filters on it. And because if you just wear like one of those cloth masks, whether it be N95 and N100 masks, it's really not enough. That other stuff's going to get through, and so it's just nasty stuff that you don't really want in your system. It's bad for your lungs. It's bad for everything. So, get a good professional painter's mask, and that you can change the cartridges out on. You can get a decent one at Harbor Freight for like $45, I think.
Actually, you should get one really if you're doing kind of any bluthery where you're going to be sanding rosewood, especially ebony. If you're doing nut dust, all of this stuff is very bad for you. And if you do it once a year, when no big deal.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, and so we want to go ahead and make sure that we're taking care of ourselves, and so
that's why I just have you guys do it.
That's true. That's even better. But it's everything from all those that fine particulate from all the sanding and everything to all the things that you're using to clean up are pretty nasty, right? If you're using your if you're doing bonding and using acetone, if you're using alcohol to clean it up, the clear itself that you're spraying, is really nasty, not good for you. And so you've got to protect yourself from all that, especially if you're going to be doing it for a while. And there he is. He is back with us, folks.
Oh, we're back. It was, dude, I was just chilling here, and then this.
Oh, Ben Coombs, you are too funny. Ben Coombs says, Charles uses a mask. I just pull my T-shirt straight over my nose.
Go.
Oh.
Ebony dust? Who cares?
Yeah, who cares? It'll be all right. It'll be fine.
This Todd Nichols guitar shirt, it is actually designed for building guitars, so it's got an M95 built in to the. It doesn't, but it should.
So where have you guys gone, the farthest you've gone on a guitar safari away from your local area?
On a routine, I'm willing to go and look about an hour away if the deal is right. And so in doing that, I had a deal once that I set up a deal for 5 guitar necks, right? 5 guitar necks. $50, and like you can't get one guitar neck for $50. So, it's like okay. So I talk to the guy. We arrange everything, and I go up there, and I'm waiting for him, and he doesn't show. And it's been a half an hour. So I text him, hey, just let you know I'm here. Hear nothing. Just wait another half hour. Nothing. So I text him, okay, I'm out of here. And in the time that so it literally was an hour away. So it took me an hour to get there. I waited an hour and an hour to go home. So you're talking 3 hours now, right?
Yeah.
And so I get home, pull into my driveway, and and just went to see if checked my phone to see if the guy had responded, and so no response. And so then I went back to the ad, and they had all been listed as sold.
Yeah, that ain't right.
Yeah, just like that. So, but it's been an hour just to go make a deal. But if I'm on a trip, then wherever I am, I will go and look and see. I'll check the Facebook Marketplace. I'll check the Craigslist. I will check the pawn shops. When I went up last time to see my family. We went around a couple pawn shops with my older brother and looked at stuff. And I'm actually getting ready to head back up there next month and plan on doing another look around, And so, but now there are things that I do want to do. There are places that I do want to go I've been wanting to hit Nashville. I've been wanting to hit Memphis. And you guys brought up Red Rocks, and that's another one I would always like to do. I'd like to do the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Those are
Texas Toast guitar building class in Colorado, and then hit a concert in Red Rocks. While you're
on
there.
your way to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yes, very good.
I went to Nashville, and I didn't buy any gear, but I brought a guitar with me, and I played 1 or 2 open mics when I was there, just because it's Nashville, and might as well play some music. So, yeah, that's the furthest I've gone. Like, we're really as music. Nashville is a trip, dude. It is like bars that are back to back, where you'll have the window is separated. There's a wall, and it's a bar here, and there's literally a drummer on each side of the wall, and so much live music, and people get hammered there. Like, if you start drinking, they do this thing commonly where they say bottoms up or whatever it is, and you're supposed to finish your beer. You do that 5 times, and you're hammered. Yep.
Well, Ryan Hall is talking about in the chat. There is a conversation that was going back and forth between Ryan Hall and somebody else, and they were talking about Alice's Restaurant is an old church and song, and so that's interesting idea as well.
Alice's Restaurant as a destination,
I guess.
Wow.
Michael
I remember
Crosby
the show.
I mean, and there's always those music cruises that they're doing.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea too.
Do the prog rock and
Unless
all
you're
that.
the band, it's a terrible idea if you're in the band, because then
but they have.
stuck on
Hello,
Get
Gear
like 4 or 5 bands to go out.
like, don't try to go get lunch if you're in the band and you're on the cruise, because you are
Yeah,
stuck.
not
You
getting
got to stay in your room and have freaking stuff delivered. I mean, that's if you're. I don't know. There's different takes on going out, but if you're like super, you can't be Taylor Swift on that thing. They'll sink the boat.
I'll come to the
Too
same
many
side.
people. Didn't she made $1 billion? Isn't $1 billion 1,000 million? How many is a billion? A billion.
Yeah, it's 1,000 million, I think.
Let's just say it's more than I have.
So she made 1,000 million on this tour. Holy.
Okay, so now we know why Ben likes Nashville, because he says Nashville is bachelorette capital, is the bachelorette party capital of the world. Lots of sloppy drunks, and so now we see the appeal for Ben.
Yeah.
And Herb says he wants to do the Monsters of Rock cruise.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's the cruise I was saying, like, fun for the people, less fun for Dave Mustaine or whoever. That's on.
Wouldn't it
Hey,
be cool?
to Ben's point, there's this one bar not far, well, kind of in Sonoma, near where my brother lives, that is famous because it's wine country. A lot of people get married there. A lot of people do their bachelorette parties there. So this one bar, Steiner's, is famous for after your bachelorette party, you go there. I've never been to any other bar in my life where we were surrounded by hundreds of women, and there was like 20 guys, and all the 20 guys were looking at each other like, what is going on? Is this real? What's happening here? Are we in a weird parallel universe? We're like high-fiving each other as we walked by. Not that any of us went home with anybody, but we all tried.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Good times. So yeah, I know those bars, Ben.
Yeah, and there's always the residencies in Vegas too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you could have a lot of fun with that. Vegas would be a great place to go just to do that whole music thing and see those groups that it might be the last time you get to see them, right? Because usually once you move into do your residency into Vegas, there's a lot of folks use that as their stepping down to retirement, right? So kind of like the last thing that they tend to do.
Well, I don't know.
Did anybody see Skid Row got a new singer?
No.
Skid Row got a new singer. Sebastian Bach's playing all his Skid Row music out under the label Sebastian Bach, and he's packing them in probably as much as Skid Row is. But Skid Row's new singer was fucking on point, dude. He was, because Sebastian Bach in his young days was, you can't expect anybody to do that when they're 50, whatever.
Right.
And this young kid is doing it. I mean, I think Sebastian should be, I don't know, he probably feels bitter about it, right? But to hear somebody else do what you wrote and what you did and do it that well, that's gotta, like, you know, so what, you can't do it now, but it's here, listen to what you did, you know, anyway.
It's all a matter of that perspective and what you allow yourself to see, right? Whether you
I would travel to see Skid Row again.
If he looks back at it as I left something for other people to carry on and other people to emulate, then then he's on point. If he wants his focus to stay bitter of, well, that's not me and I got kicked out. It's all depends. How do you want to see this?
Yep. I'll go see Skid Row again and or Sebastian Bach. I'll go see them both because they were so good when I saw them. They were my ex-girlfriend's favorite band.
Well, Ben says he still has a great voice.
He does. No, he's still really good. Yeah, he's still,
not able to get it the way he used to, right? Yeah.
Yep, but I did, Ben, like this. So my ex loved Sebastian Bach, and he was very, very pretty boy. So I sent her, within the last couple of years, a split screen shot of an up-to-date of him and me. Anyway, it was when I was like in really good shape. So I was like, yeah, there you go. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
And welcome Music Therapy Laz. He is in. His show today was canceled. He's had to cancel his show, so he's not going on. And so if we want to take some more time, we've got it. He's driving to LA to pick up a friend who got into a car wreck. So great guy, Laz.
So sorry.
Wow. Yeah.
It wasn't in this big storm, was it? They're getting hit.
And, yeah, I hope your friend is okay and everything, and appreciate you helping him out like that. Anything we can do to help out, let us know.
Yeah. Oh, and another, I didn't get to make the trip, but I was going to go up to Toronto to see Ben.
Mm-hmm.
And then COVID hit.
Killer.
Oh, so
yeah,
the money
Hey, you got your mic muted there, Randy, somehow. Yeah. Here you go.
It was, what it was? It was Sebastian Bach heard us talking shit. Surprised it wasn't my mic that got muted. But I think I want to hang out with Sebastian Bach. If you would please give me a call and come and hang out, I will totally host you. We'll roll some joints. We'll go to the lake and we'll play some guitar. Yep. But could you please bring the weed and the boat and some guitar?
Well, Lazarus can continue to lurk as he drives, and so we appreciate that. All the best to your friend, buddy. All the best to your friend. And Phil said,
podcast this thing.
Phil S. Norwich Guitar says, accidental mute? ? Gotta love it.
That would be the mute that Charles would do on me. That would be the accidental, especially when Sherman comes around and is being a little asshole. It happens.
So Randy, where else would you like to go on a music journey here?
California.
I've been to LA. I didn't get to the Sunset Strip. That's probably one place I would go. Got to go to the Rainbow Room and the whiskey.
After hearing all the Charles Green stories, definitely the whiskey has to be a stop.
And then, as far as New York, CBGB's is now a clothing store.
Whoa.
Really?
Yeah. So, other than just to see the building, there's no point.
Yeah. Hey, guys,
I want to get down to...
Hold on, Seth. One sec. We can get the chat working on it, too. Folks, where would you like to go for your music and guitar tourism? What are the things that are on your list? Go ahead and put them in the chat so we can share them while Seth knocks out what his are going to be.
There's also Cabo.
What's that?
Cabo?
There's Cabo. Sammy Hagar's place.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Sammy Hagar lives like very close to me. Or one of his many houses is very close to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
He's
got to
got
go
a-
to Norm's Rare Guitars down in LA. I mean, come on, right? That is like a mecca.
Yeah.
And
I've
maybe
been-
you could
The thing about that
Bonamassa
stuff is,
let you come hang out.
I know even if I was able to buy something there, I know I would still leave crying because I didn't get something else.
Just buy a patch cable and a sticker. You know?
No, it
That's why
wouldn't
they
be
sell
enough.
T-shirts. You know,
It wouldn't be enough, right? Because you're like, I need to see all that. Yeah, Ben Combs is saying Nashville, they hit all the vintage shops. And Janice says her old goth, and punk bar became a lawyer's office. No.
the
And
punk
then-
rock club in Berkeley that is used to be Operation Ivy's hangout. It's the Gilman, where everybody used to go do drugs and play music. Now is they go and they hold the NA meetings and the AA meetings there. So people go there, they get their meeting, and they listen to punk rock. It's fantastic, but it's still a punk rock place.
There's some cool things here in the chat. Ben is saying Nashville. He wants to hit all the vintage guitar shops. And there's a guitar waiting for him at Carter's. You know there is.
Yeah. There's also Manny's in New York City.
Yeah.
Yep.
And speaking New York City, Michael Krause says he'd like to go to Nashville. He'd like to go to New York and Chicago. So he might be thinking on the same track that both you and Ben are, Randy. Chris Man NYC wants to go to Memphis. William De Silva wants to go up to Portland to do a pedal tour. There's so many great pedal builders up in Portland. Some in on the Willamette River up there. So excellent. And Phil S. Norwich Guitar says, I guess the hard thing to do is to visit the music scene just as it's happening. Like from Rick Beato's story, he hears that he basically chased the indie rock scene during its early days in the 90s.
Right. Like we haven't mentioned Portland. There's a lot of, there's a lot of grunge music and music history. I went to Seattle, but I'm trying to think that I do anything music related. Again, I was there because I won a trip for selling Lagunitas beer, and Lagunitas, they keep you hammered when you win a trip. You arrive and they're like, here's a beer. You're not driving anywhere. Here's a beer. So I may have done something music related.
Yeah. Josh Tannenberg, welcome in. You've probably been here for a while, but I didn't catch you before. But he misses the Exit Inn down in Nashville. So
Exit, yeah, that's funny. The Exit Inn.
yes.
I see what you did.
Well, I tell you, Memphis is a lot of fun because everything is right there in just a 4-block place. As far as all the bars with the music. And then I stayed 4 blocks from Beale Street, and down the street was the Blues Hall of Fame. Then I went over to Stax Records, and I went to the Rock and Soul Hall of Fame.
See, that is a trip I'd definitely like to take.
It's a lot of fun. A lot of stuff to do. I chose not to go to Graceland, though.
Oh, really?
Bad taste is bad taste, whether it's in the 70s. that place is furnished horribly.
Oh, that's funny.
My last name is Presley, and I skipped it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Michael Krause says Kenmore Square in Boston, home of the Rat, Boston's punk rock club, is now hotels and condos. That's sad. That is sad.
Yeah.
Everything
changes.
And we can all hang out at the Fillmore.
Yes, I'm close to that. Like I was going to say, you come up on your way out of California, you come to the North Bay, which is just north of San Francisco, right by wine country. And it's beautiful. We got guitars.
Yeah, you and Laz do need to get together. You are like practically next door to each other,
Well, actually, he's in Livermore, right? Which is, if Livermore is where my mom lives, and it's about 65 miles from here. So about a little bit over an hour's drive.
In Texas distances, that's nothing.
Yeah, it might as well be Africa when you're like, it seems so far. It's also this hot out there. Like it'll be 75 degrees there and here, and it'll be 100 degrees there.
Yeah.
So we're closer to the ocean.
Ben says that Manny's closed in 2009. So yeah.
What about taking our guitars with us when we go? Do you guys usually take a guitar to practice if you go on a vacation?
If I'm driving, I will. If I am flying, no, just because of baggage rates and all that kind of stuff, and baggage handling isn't exactly known as treating things well. So,
well, if I'm just going on a trip, I take a guitar with me. But when I went to Memphis and when I went to Austin, I had intentions of buying guitars there, so I didn't take one with me.
Right.
No, I did bring one down. I did bring one down when I came down to see Charles.
Yeah, you did. You brought your FMT down with you.
So yes, I did bring a guitar.
And when you hear Randy bragging about how well his FMT plays, it really does. It really does have that feel that he's talking about, which is really kind of amazing. And it's a really thin body on that, huh, Randy?
Mm-hmm.
Michael Krause.
When I go on vacation to relax, I definitely want to bring my guitar because that's like an ideal day of relaxation for me is going to include an hour to an hour and a half of playing, or hopefully it's a couple different times during the day because you get re-inspired and you hear something as you're at lunch and you want to go back and play something. So I bring my little Roland Cube, and I bring a screwdriver. And I pull the neck off a Strat and take a towel with the strings on it and wrap it up and wrap up the body. And it goes into like a little gym bag. And I bring one that I don't care about and I throw it. I mean, not that I don't care about it, but I bring one that if it gets a ding, it's not going to crush my world. I throw it in the overhead bin.
Yeah.
I get it. Boom.
Well, that's how Martin got his, that is how Martin got his telly home. And it was something I had not thought about before. And it's something that I'm definitely thinking about for my return trip. Because, when I go up this time, I'm going hunting. I'm going on safari.
Right.
So,
hell yeah.
Don't tell the missus.
Oh, well. So once you succeeded, so that's like my wife went with me on safari to get the Carvin because about 6 months previous, I had picked up a American-made GNL sky blue is American, beautiful painted headstock for $200, and then I sold it to my friend for half of what I should have sold it for. I sold it to him for $600, but she saw that a guitar safari could triple the $200 to $600, and she's like, "Oh, well, maybe there is something to this."
Right.
So she was more keen to go forward with and that blue guitar I ended up buying back for $600 on trade for a Presley and then sold it for like $1,000. Anyway, that guitar was in and out of my life.
Well, and my wife is on board. She knows I'm going to do something with it to make money, right? If I'm going to turn it around and make money, she's more on board with it if I'm just buying it for myself. I'm sorry, Randy, I cut you off, bud.
Oh, I forgot.
We was just saying the GNLs are killer.
Yeah, GNLs
that's another one that we could put on the tour schedule because they're in California.
Yeah,
you could hit up Ernie Ball, Music Man, and then go down to GNL, and then go down to Sunland and see the Schecter and AIO.
All right, let me catch up on chat a little bit here, guys. Let's see. We got Michael Krause is telling us about there are a lot of pedal builders in Boston, and Small Bear Electronics has been doing gatherings and meetings, and he needs to make one of those. I approve of that idea. And
they should have a strip club.
Bo wants to finish the studio, and we all want that to happen because Bo's studio, it's going to be like Disney World for us.
Ooh.
I'm just saying. And Laz was overhearing. He's still driving, and he was overhearing the conversation about Carter's, and he's like, "So true. I did get Fernando. Oh, it's here just talk about Norm's, but he did get his Fernandez guitar at Norm's, and so that was
I saw Fernandez locally on Craigslist for $400, single hum, vintage.
Yeah, I saw something like that recently too. Locally here.
I'm just not gonna, $400. I'm just not gonna drop $400, dude. If I was gonna spend that $400, I probably would just buy some parts. There's some parts out there that I wanna keep building because that's what I love to do. And I've been on summer break, and so I've been like spending zero money because of my first year as a teacher on summer break. So next year I'll have like it budgeted out to where I can just, that's what I'm saying. In a month or two, I'll be all set up and building again on the regular. I got some flame necks that are going to be on the way and some relic bodies. Go ahead, Charles. What's up?
Oh, Rico B went on the Gibson Memphis factory tour before they closed it. It was awesome. And
wow.
And that is just an incredible experience. But this is why I was laughing. Our friend, Unbelievable, he came in and he says he's finally here and the show can start now.
Yes. Thank you.
Well, and when I was down in Memphis, the Gibson factory had already closed. So I was going to make that little sojourn there when I was down there, but they closed up shop.
Oh, boy.
Can't blame them. Can't blame her. All the Gibsons are coming from China now. The Gibson factory got so good that they said, fuck it. We're just going to buy a bunch of Gibsons and then polish the frets. And we're going to end up saving it. And if we do that for 4 years, we'll make enough money. We're going to just all retire. I see you, Gibson. And I call you out.
Oh, buddy.
Not really. Gibson's got big lawyers, and I apologize if I offended anybody. Because they're wonderful homemade guitars made by craftspeople that are just fantastic.
Here's something that I was watching a Grand Funk concert last night, and the guitar player, I can't remember his name, he was playing a Dean, like a double cut Dean.
Oh, wow.
And I'm going, I was trying to figure it out, and they finally showed a close-up of the headstock and was able to figure it out. I didn't realize Dean was around in the 70s, though.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
totally. Yeah. Everything.
It's funny what you see in the chat, right? Especially we get going, we get talking, we kind of forget chat a little bit.
Right.
Oh, thank God.
When we were talking about Graceland, Janice jumped in. She's like, yeah, Graceland is gaudy. And Herb just had to add in, did you see the Ghost of Elvis down on Union Avenue?
No, but I did go to one of the oldest restaurants in Memphis. Is called the Arcade, and Elvis used to go in there and sit and look in the mirror, and somebody came in, he could sneak out the back door. That was the story that they told us.
Right. So Seth, Herb wants to know how far you are from Winslow, Arizona. So if you made that trip, how long is that trip for you?
Arizona is probably going to be about 10 or 12 hours drive. 10 hours drive. But if I was doing Arizona, I would probably do that thing down through LA and head out and do a whole trip. And then how far is Arizona from you, Charles? I need to look at the map, but yeah.
I'm looking probably at about 20 hours. I think.
Yeah, you can actually stand on the corner in Winslow, Arizona, too.
Yeah.
There's a statue
Such a
there.
fine sight to see. Right?
And they did a mural of the girl in the pickup truck driving by. So you can get a picture with that
Right
too.
and there's a statue there's a statue on the corner, right? Yeah.
See, I got pictures of me standing by that. And
That's
then
killer.
the whole
That's
town
awesome.
basically runs off the lyrics of that song. Really.
Totally. I got a statue of Yoda and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, dude, down by my house because Lucas there's a whole valley named, Lucas Valley. He owns, when I look out my window, he owns like that mountain over there.
See, this is a guy who knows how to live, right? This is a guy who knows how to live.
But he didn't let him build a bunch of buildings on it, which is cool.
Ferd
He kept it all
Burfel-
beautiful.
Well, Ferd Burfel says he did a St. Patty's Day pub crawl in Memphis once. He thinks he remembers most of it.
He thinks he remembers, right? Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you gotta love that. You gotta love that.
Have you ever done the pub crawl, the St. Patty's Day pub crawl, and at like the fourth bar in, you're hammered and you're doing shots of Jameson, and out of nowhere, somebody hired a freaking leprechaun. And then, like, you can normally handle a leprechaun hanging out, like, if you're not like smacked. But once you've had 4 or 5 shots, and then if this leprechaun was hanging out from the first, it's cool. But you can't just spring a leprechaun on me. All right, 4 bars. Yeah. It was too much. I was overwhelmed, and I had to leave. Had to Uber home. Yeah.
Well, Michael, that's really cool. Yeah, I that would freak me out too if I'd been drinking Irish whiskey and I saw a leprechaun.
Yeah, man, because you wonder, like, was it?
Because you start looking at when you start
chasing down the street trying to get his pot of gold.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Michael Krause, Michael Krause has a good comment. He says, he brings a traveler guitar with him on trips. And Laz is really trying to get us all to come there because he's talking about barbecues and vineyards and wet setups. Our buddy Rico
Livermore is beautiful. Livermore is beautiful, and I may have described it as Africa and hot because it's just very hot. But there are a ton of wineries. It's just like if you were successful in the South Bay, near the tech area, and you wanted to live a little bit outside of the zone, you moved to Livermore and you bought a bigger house, and that's how it. And also the BART system, which is kind of our rapid transit system for the Bay Area, does go to Livermore, so it's very accessible. Pretty cool.
Nice. Rico B is in the chat, and he was answering that question that Herb had asked too. He said he's in Phoenix, and it's about 3 hours for Seth and him. It's about 3 hours to San Fran for him, so it would be about 3 hours for you. Roughly.
No, that is not true. From Phoenix, Arizona to San Fran is definitely more than 3 hours.
Okay.
Because you're talking 5 hours to Tahoe, which would be the edge of California. And then you got to go in, so you're maybe 10 hours. But it's doable. Totally
Texas
is
working just fine. We're pulling out what we need from it.
Hey, I wanted to express my my heart feelings for all these people. There's like hundreds of people, which means all these families from Hawaii. That like there's people that are just because it's a ripple effect and it goes out, right? I'm so sorry because fire and that kind of just losing everything has got to be. I just very tough times. And if somebody were to reach out to me directly and email me if they had some kind of story about somebody who needs a replacement guitar, a high school student, somebody who lost everything, and we have a communication and a dialogue about it, I may be willing to maybe source out to some friends and come together to build somebody a guitar. But it'd have to be the right scenario. But I just feel so bad.
I'd love to be part of that, Seth. Love to be part of
totally,
that. That's just horrible. They lost, not only did, they lose their everyday things, but there were a lot of really significant cultural heritage sites that were lost and all that as well. Things that, it's just really, really sad. And then the loss of life on top of it is just too much.
And the crazy stories, like where people were in their cars 50 feet from where they could have gotten out and run and jumped into the water and lived. But people are so used to the safe, human beings were like, it's just a tragic situation, man. It's tough.
Yeah.
But we've all lived through adversity, and anybody that's going through this know that this, even though it's awful and it's hard to deal with, it is your fate, right? And so whatever's coming from this was meant to be for you, and it's going to be overall good in the long run, although it sucks right now.
Yeah, I spent 3.5 years in the Marine Corps station on Hawaii, on Oahu.
Wow. What years were you there?
79 to 83.
Before me, but yeah, I was on Oahu 91 to 94.
Kaneohe?
I did not. I was not in the military. I was a surfer. I just surfed every day and worked at Denny's. I worked at a strip club. It was a different kind of strip club. We didn't do anything with taking finishes off of bodies, but we did take things off of bodies. But yeah, that was my Hawaii years. Oh my God, it was work all night, surf all morning, get a little bit of sleep in between.
Did you remember the Hubba Bubba Club down on Hotel Street?
Oh, hell, of course, yeah. Moose McGillicuddy's, The Wave. I mean, all those places, dude.
I came back and I watched one of those B-grade surfer movies, and they were filming it in Hawaii at the Hubba Bubba.
Oh yeah.
And we're like, I was there.
Yeah, that's my spot. That's where I hang out. Yeah, my apartment was 181 steps from the bottom of where my elevator gets out to the Waikiki beach. 181 because it's hot if you don't wear your flip-flops, but they'll steal your flip-flops. If you even hide them in a bush, your flip-flops are gone. So you just would walk barefoot.
Yeah.
Well, this idea that Martin had and Seth that you had as well is that where you take apart the guitar and you put it in your carry-on. Apparently it's pretty popular in the chat too, because Gear Junkie 35 said he did it several years ago with an Ibanez S470, and
screws.
So, yeah.
I've been considering getting one of those little like carbon fiber travel guitars.
Mm-hmm. Smart, yeah, super durable, freaking last forever. They're not affected by the weather. Like Phil McKnight had one in his truck in Arizona, like in the heat, and that will cook. That'll kill your dog or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it'll kill anything.
Dylan Talks Tone's got a couple of those carbon fiber guitars, and he loves them.
Yeah,
nice.
If you're going to be out in the heat, it's a great idea, right? If you're going to be in a place that's more controlled, then you probably want the warmth of a spruce top and mahogany sides. But if you're going to be out and about, yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense.
I have a problem with electric guitar envy. If I'm playing only an acoustic and I don't have access to an electric like immediately, I'm less comfortable with playing my acoustic because like I don't want to just sit there and chord it up and like do like my head is usually thinking the melody lines and the more anyway, I do love acoustic guitar, but I gotta bring on with me on vacation. Can't just be a acoustic. I'd rather, if I'm bringing one or the other, I'm gonna bring my electric. Mm-hmm.
But you see, you can always go to the guitar shops and pick up a good electric guitar while you're there.
That's true. But my electric is just more, I guess I'm just more, if you ask me, I'm more of an electric guitar guy. If I was going to be left with one guitar in my life, it's going to be my Strat.
Well, I've got 17 electrics and 3 acoustics, so.
So you're 5 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
So Ryan Hall in the chat, he's talking about the Austin City Limit show would be a trip plus picks with the SRV statue. Yeah, the only thing about the Austin City Limit show is it is like an all-day commitment. They shoot it during the day in the studio, and so you're kind of there for quite a bit of time. And there's like tickets that you have to get way ahead.
There's also Antones down there too.
You got Antones down there. You've got, of course, and yeah, you can't come to Austin without doing the SRV statue. Just can't. And if you go, Stevie might even hold your guitar for you. I'm just saying.
Wait, there's a statue of Stevie Ray Vaughan?
Yeah, on our hike and bike trails on Austin on Town Lake. There is a bronze statue of Stevie Ray Vaughan because that's where he got his big start in Austin.
He's really tall.
It's at a lake. Is that where he used to go hang out at the lake, or is it like in the city? Like
no, it's in the middle of the city. So basically, the Colorado River is dammed up in 3 places, and so the one part of the place where it's dammed up in the middle of Austin, they call it Town Lake. It's now called Ladybird. Well, it used to be called Town Lake. Now they call it Ladybird Lake. But there on the trail is the statue of SRV. And so if you look at the show, our show picture today, right, where we have Randy's picture.
Oh, that's where he's standing.
that's where he's standing. And if you look, Stevie's holding his guitar. The
I did
acid
see
drop
there
belly.
was a bit of AI picture manipulation going on there. I know.
There might have been something that happened there.
Yeah, I know. It happened.
Yeah, when he showed me,
I'm running out of
had me
coffee.
look at the picture, I didn't even recognize the guitar until he pointed it out.
Oh, Gear Junkie 35 went to Wrigleyville, Chicago pub crawled, and not remembering past third bar.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. And then the leprechaun shows up. And what do?
Mm-hmm.
You just act normal? Do you just act normal? No. You got to
No.
say something, or then you're not the normal guy.
You
don't
have
say
to
anything about the leprechaun.
You have to acknowledge the leprechaun in the room.
You definitely, exactly. We're not gonna just. Somebody's got to say something about the leprechaun in the
Hey,
room.
Jeff K. Oh, that's so funny. Let's see. And Phil S. Norwich guitar, he's going back and forth with Gear Junkie 35. He says, if you ever travel to the east of England, we should probably hand out Norwich. We should probably hang out. Norwich is famous for once having a pub for every day of the year and a church for every week.
Wow, 365 pubs and 50 churches.
52 churches.
Jesus. That's cool.
Oh, I love that. Love that.
Fairfax, we've got one church, I think, and 6 bars. So, and we have a really good ice cream shop. Yum.
Well, after you're done with all the bars, you do tend to need a church. I'm just.
You do need to repent later. But I repent at the Church of Gear, where I offer up a old distortion pedal, and all is forgiven.
But is it a tube screamer?
Yeah.
Nope. It is
Herbert
a shitty old, the one with its orange, the black and orange, whatever. You know what I'm talking about? What was the name of that distortion pedal? It was like the Metal Zone or something. It was
a boss.
Yeah, the Boss Metal Zone. Yeah.
It's like if just you bunch of it wasn't a very good tone. I remember that. But Charles, you're getting some tone now, right? You got your freaking classic 30 going.
Yeah, I am on cloud 9 right now. I picked up a classic 30, and it's got a vintage Celestion in it, and vintage 30 Celestion in it. And and not only did I traded that straight up for my PRS SE 245, and so not only did I get the amp, not only did I get the original foot switch, but I also got the original Scorpion speaker if I ever want to restore it back the way it was.
Which you don't.
No, but if I decide that, if I move on to a different amp later on and I want to keep the Celestion, then.
No, so that's a forever amp. That's a forever amp.
Well, I'm not planning on doing. I'm
is
thinking
not a move on.
There should things present, right?
Not an option. You'll find that it is. I've had one for 8 years, right? And I've done a lot of gear in and out, and I've done a lot of tone, and I've got some good amps. I've got people talk shit about Mesa Boogie, but they don't have Mesa Boogies. I've got a really good Mesa that sounds phenomenal. I got a really good Fender tube amp. My PV, it's going nowhere. The Mesa would go before the PV.
Yeah, I have no plans for it going. What is the speaker that's in your PV?
I have to look. I think it's just the classic, the one that's in there, the Widow, the original.
Oh, you get the Black Widow. Okay. Yeah, because see, the Black Widow speaker is better than the Scorpion.
Blue Marvel.
Oh, you got the Blue Marvel speaker. Okay.
Yep.
So, in my understanding of the PV speakers was that the Black Widow speaker was the favorite, right? And then after that would come the Scorpion, and but I'm not sure. But I know they went from having the Scorpion in the Black Widows to going ahead and putting in the Blue Marvels later. So
I got no complaints about the Blue Marvel at all. There could be something out there that sounds better, but I don't know because I haven't had it. I do have a PV with a Sheffield equipped, which was their higher end speaker, but it's in a solid state PV 115, 112. And it sounds great. It sounds great. You couldn't, I mean, I like to have solid state on hand too, to have the differences, you know.
Definitely. And it's one of those things. The Vintage 30, Ben was telling me, it's really kind of an unforgiving speaker. It shows everything. There's not a lot to hide behind. But I'm thinking that's working. That's really going to work for me because I'm a little heavy-handed with my right hand, right? So I think that's going to help me work on my technique a bunch. And so what I might just do with the Scorpion is I might just build a cabinet and just put that in there.
What are you doing for tone, Randy? What do you got? What are you playing through recently?
Fender Hot Rod Deluxe.
Nice. Yeah.
It's like in 2003, I think. I picked it up for $350.
Yeah, I was really jealous when you got that. I remember you getting.
There was another one that was just like it. It was kind of torn up a little bit, and they sold that one for like $800.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, we have one of the things that's happened in the chat. Herb of Fireside Studio was thanking both you and I for our service, and so I wanted to say thank you, Herb. We appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Thank him.
And of course, I knew this was coming. Because we can't talk about travel guitars and traveling with guitars. Our buddy Ryan from OU812 says, Headless Steinberger for the win on travel guitars.
Too expensive to take with you. If it gets stolen or it gets damaged, then you're upset. I don't want to be upset on vacation. I will take a $300 guitar. But I hear you. Like if you got, money, and that is like going to be the playing experience, and it's going to be, traveling professionally, yes, maybe, but.
And Unbelievable says he takes an electro-acoustic travel guitar. It fits in the overhead, no issues. Something happens to it, you don't worry. Oh, that's good.
I saw Riffs, Beards, and Gear do a recent, I've seen reviews on it before, but the Mower, M-O-E-R, the GT3, whatever guitar that has all the stuff in it, seems very intriguing to me. I wish that I could buy all of that, the hardware for it, like a drop-in pick guard and the other parts separately to put in one of my guitars. But I like that idea of being able to plug in and have a bunch of presets on board. That's cool.
So going back to our discussion of the Stevie Ray Vaughan statue, Michael Krause says he should lobby for a Rob Zombie statue in his city.
Yes.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
I saw a white zombie when I was a kid at a warehouse party in Oakland, and it was
welcome in Eddie Fay.
Energizing. It was terrifying. It was a lot of things. It was cool. Loud.
Randy Eddie Fay likes your name. He says Randy Crooks and the leading. You got a great band name, right? Randy Crooks
and the whoever shows up tonight.
And the whatevers, yes.
But it's got to have something related to the last name Crooks, Yeah. Randy Crooks and the Bandits or the Thieves or something.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, funny story. I'm in boot camp. I had never been teased about my name ever, my last name. I'm in boot camp, and the drill instructor, he's going, Bandit. Everybody's looking around. Thief, Bandito, going through all these things. I had no clue. Finally yells at me, hey, Crooks, come up and get your mail. Then I figured it out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bandit.
Yep. The drill sergeants love doing things like that, for sure.
Randy Crooks and the Defendants.
Randy Crooks and the Pornographers is another one I saw here.
Yeah. Oh, well, Keith H just bought a headless ERT guitar, and he says it's really great. $280 and doesn't take up much space.
Stainless steel frets, I think, on the ERT.
Yes, I think so.
I'm gonna look at those. I was looking at the Delos, the Harley Benton Delos, as a headless thing to buy that's inexpensive. But like I said, I'm spending money. But yeah.
I don't know. I can't look down the neck of a guitar and not see a headstock. It just bothers me.
I think it's like everything else, though. You get used to it, and I guess Ryan, you can chime in on that because you have the experience with having one. But yeah, you're right. To me, I look at it and it doesn't look right. And,
It just doesn't look like it's finished yet.
Yeah, your eye is looking like there's something missing here, and I can see that. But I've never picked one up either, though. So I don't have the reference. Eddie Fay says there is.
I had a headless port that I got on Safari and sold. It was cool, but not cool enough to keep it. So,
did you like it? Did it feel right to you, or
it felt good? It played good. It was light. It was cool. But it wasn't a forever guitar. It was like I knew that it wasn't the one. It
was a passerby.
Something to scratch an itch for a little while.
Yeah.
Well, something that I bought for $150 and sold for $4 or something like that.
Gotcha.
Set it up and made it play good, cleaned it all up.
So I don't know if you guys knew this, but Eddie Fay says there's a Chris Cornell statue in front of the Hendrix Museum in Seattle.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Did not know that.
Got to be fairly new, right? He didn't pass away that long ago.
Okay.
A few years, right?
I'm sorry, but I have to stop for a minute and counsel Michael Krause because he's saying he clearly owns too much stuff. Forgot he has a Fernandez Z mini guitar with the belt, I guess maybe the strap, and some Digitech effects, and so he's got stuff that he doesn't know he has because he's got too much. But I don't think you ever have too much stuff. You just have stuff that's not visible.
More stuff than you remember, then that's kind of a problem.
But I've been there. When I cleaned out from Novato, I found guitars that I thought that I had given away, or I was like, yeah, it happens. It's embarrassing, but it's okay.
Yeah, and Ryan is updating us. He tells us, you definitely get used to that with no headstock, and he says if he could only keep one guitar, it would be his headless Steinberger. So he is pretty on board with that thing. But yeah, and Eddie is agreeing with you, Randy. He says, I don't really want to get used to it. There should be a headstock.
I mean, you can get used to anything.
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
William De Silva kind of is along the same lines. He's saying, same here, Randy, even if they put a faux headstock on them.
I don't know. I might have a chance if they got one that you can just put on like a foam finger or something, maybe,
Oh, that's funny. Yes, exactly. Like the I'm with stupid finger. And you can point it at all the people in the band.
Well, it's funny because it's, people are, again, we all like what we like. And I think that's what it really comes down to, right? We all like what we like, and different things speak to us. And so it's but you have to try all different kinds of stuff to know what you like to begin with. Phil S. Norge, guitarist, saying he's still loving his Harley Benton Fusion 3 roasted neck, stainless steel frets under 350 pounds.
Was that like the new anniversary, the rose gold ones that went out?
I don't know for sure.
It was the anniversary one. I think it was that. It was kind of a cool color, like a gold mist, fire gold mist. Pretty cool.
Oh, okay. That guitar Michael Krause was talking about, it's the Digitech effects are built into the guitar.
Oh, right. It's
That's
a little
right.
travel guitar. Fernandez did a bunch of cool stuff.
Oh, yeah. I saw one of those. I was actually looking at those. There's also a rather inexpensive carbon travel guitar that I was looking at also, which had the effects built into it. Yeah, I saw 2 of those, and those kind of look cool. I almost pulled the trigger on one of those.
It's interesting, I think it would be the kind of thing that I might pick up and kind of play with just to see what it could do. But I am a really I'm a really simple kind of guy when it comes to that stuff because I do enough other things that are complicated. So when I come home, I just want a guitar with a couple of knobs and a switch and an amp with just some knobs to turn. Because I find myself, if I'm using a modeler or something with too many options on it, I get lost in the options and I don't end up spending enough time playing music on the guitar.
That's why I hardly ever use my Motorola Code 50, or not Motorola, but Marshall Code 50.
Too many presets.
It's like 99 presets, and I set a couple of them, but then I got the Fender, and I'm going like, I don't want to play the Marshall.
Yeah.
Well, for me, even with my, I use my Spark 40 a bunch, but I use 4 presets, and I borrowed them all from Martin from L&M Guitar Corner. And so, I didn't have to program them. I knew his sound. I knew I liked his sound, and I downloaded them. I put them on my amp, and I use them when I want to use them. But I don't go into all the other functions of that amp, right? I use it like a straight up amp, and I turn my knobs.
Well, I use it for backing tracks and stuff.
Right. But yeah, I just haven't gotten there with that yet. For me, it's simple. I just want to make noise through the thing and then work on getting better myself, I guess.
So for you right now, it's actually probably better to have less in the mix. Don't have a ton of delay and reverb and stuff because it does hide. It masks,
Yeah, for where I am on my journey, yeah. I need my amp to be out there bright and nothing to hide behind.
Mm-hmm. So I've got my Mesa all dialed in for, you have to kind of dial it for one guitar or 2 guitars using the compressor pedal. And so you dial it in for one guitar, and then it's kind of like, if you switch up your equipment, then you're in it for half an hour probably to get it, because there's 3 channels and to get them all dialed right. So I don't mess with that. But if I'm just plugging any guitar in, it's into my PV Classic 30 because that takes everything, no problem.
Well, you were talking about that using the compression pedals last week.
Yeah, you get a unity gain. Because my Strats are so much less output than humbucker guitars on my Mesa, which is super sensitive to it. I use a compression pedal to even it out, boost my Strat up to where it needs to be, or depending on which one I've set up first, pull it out of the humbucker. Recently, it's been I boosted the Strat to get it up to the level. Works good. Works super good.
Hey, Kush, have a good one, buddy. We appreciate you coming in, and
thank you,
always
Kush.
a good time when you're here. Always a good time.
Buddy Presley's still around. Thank you, Dad, for watching our show each week. That's fun.
Definitely.
Yep. I wish he would chat. He needs to freaking subscribe or whatever he needs to do so you could chat on the chat, because he's got some cool shit. He's sending me a bunch of good ideas for us to use for the near future for guitar safari ideas.
Would absolutely love to see him in the chat.
Totally.
Chat. So we're just thrilled that he's watching, just really.
Yep.
So in our chat, Eddie Fay says,
well, are we going to wrap it up or what? Are we keeping going?
Let's go ahead and we'll wrap it up in about 2 minutes, I think.
Yeah, go an hour and a half, right? That's pretty good. Dude, thank you to all the people. Thank you to Randy for coming out.
Yeah, really. I mean, we really appreciate that.
Oh, sure. It's been great.
Let me get this in before we run away or do anything, because Eddie Face says, here's the funny thing. We like it simple, but we're using technology on YouTube to come together in groups. And that is really true. But in Ryan Hall, not Ryan Hall, Ryan of OU812 says, yeah, but YouTube is simple. And a lot of us are using StreamYard to do it, which is even simpler. And
I love the people that get a vintage guitar, vintage amp, everything's supposed super vintage, and they use like a $90 cable to plug it in. And you're like, do you think that Jimi Hendrix had a $90 titanium premium cable? I don't think so.
Hello there,
You wanna go-
Symmetry. Hadn't seen you in the chat before. He still got he says he still has a half a cup of coffee left. Unfortunately, that's not my situation here. I am empty.
Yeah, eighth of a cup at the most. And I brought like this to like refill along the way. I need to
Uh-huh.
empty out the coffee after an hour and a half. We need to do a coffee
Definitely.
release.
You know, well, and it's like Seth was saying a moment ago. We really appreciate all you being here, Randy. Thank you so much for coming on as a guest.
My pleasure.
This was definitely your topic. And
Yeah.
so we really appreciate you spending that time with us.
Or could have been the gas one too, but
Man.
Oh yeah, well, the gas one is one we've all got a problem with.
yeah, mine's kind of dissipated for right now. I haven't really found anything that I really just have to have,
Mm-hmm.
I've become good at gas control. I take my gas X, right? I'll scroll through. I'll watch the Riff Beards or Gear, and I'll say, "Oh shit, I really want a more guitar. Oh, they're $800. Ah!" And I take gas X.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I've still got a couple that are nagging along at me, but I'm ignoring them right now because I got stuff.
Yeah, try not.
All right. Well, thank you everyone once again for coming to Guitar Safari again this week. We look forward to seeing you next week. Randy, thank you again so much for being on the show.
Sure, absolutely.
Really excellent. Yeah. So we appreciate you all. Hang in there. All you folks that hung in with us the extra half hour, we really truly appreciate it. And we will see you next week.
Cool.